Hey everybody, happy Wednesday, and welcome back to the Brooks Legacy. We are with Generation 3 Blaz, and as you can see, we have a new thumbnail for exactly 2 episodes. But I thought this was a special enough trip that it deserved its own thumbnail. A family reunion, and yeah, I don't know. I thought this was a good picture. I tried to find one that I liked of like him and Marin. Didn't exactly find a good one, but I thought this worked out pretty good. So anyways, for those who may not have tuned in for Marin's yesterday or just like I don't know, I am splitting the trip for both or this family reunion arc in half. So the first part is this week, the second part is next week or the next time I do these videos, because there may be the slight possibility that I cannot get some videos out for next week. Anyway, next time I do Brooks will be the second half, just so everybody is aware. But anyways, I hope y'all are having a good week, and let's dive in, shall we? One ticket and a loading screen later, and Blaz is here. He's in Sulani. He gets to see his sister soon. He's so excited. Blaz hasn't seen his sister in so long. It's been what? Like nearly 4 or 5 years? 2 birthdays for him, for sure. But that long time ends today! He's having to ditch the bike quick, but he rented a Wave Runner for the week. He's got a map and directions. Marin offered to come get him, but she's having some nasty pregnancy sickness, and Panda told Tony, her fiance, to just give him some GPS coordinates. It's time to put his navigation skills to the test. The weather here is incredible. The water is gorgeous. Just wow. This place sure is stunning. Panda's never been on a wave runner, so he decides to give it a trial run before taking her on the open seas to Marin's slice of heaven. Oh my, watch. Is that a whole dolphin? Hey, now Panda could get used to this. Wave running is so much fun. Some people also have homes out on the water. How cool. That girl on the boat almost looks like Olivia. But no time to focus on that. It's time to go! Take a left out of the cove. Check. Head out in a mostly straight line north to northeast for a solid mile or so. Check. Now turn left and right heading towards the volcano. That's terrifying, but check. And there should be a little island with an in-progress beach cabin with orange and yellow paint. Check! The in-progress cabin looked homey, a bit worn down, but inviting nonetheless, even without a proper roof. The splashes of paint definitely reminded him of his sister. It laced her artistic habits, but when Panda knew her, she was more moody and emo. Wait, was that her? Was that Marin? And by the time his feet made splash down on the sand, his face had decided it was time to revolt against this salty air. Panda cringed, feeling his acne flare up. For Watcher's sake, his darn skin had to pick the wrong time, didn't it? So many years since he saw his sister, and now she's pregnant and glowing and happy, and Panda's a pimple face. How silly. Marin was indeed glowing. Gone was his emotional older sister who barely smiled and seemed lost constantly. Marin walked like she had a purpose. Peace instead of angst. A little smile instead of a frown. It made Panda's heart skip a beat. And he immediately knew that no matter what, for her to be like this, for him, all the worry and pain had been worth it. No words were spoken yet, but Marin ran into Panda's outstretched arms, and finally the 2 estranged book siblings were together once again. Tears flowed from both pairs of eyes, and even the Watcher was shedding a tear. Holy cows, Panda Bear! You've gotten so much taller. What happened to my little string bean brother? What's with this 6-pack? Oh, do you need a facial cleanser or something? The salty briner is killer on the skin when you first get here. I had so many pimples when I first got here. The mayor and Panda, remember, didn't talk a lot, but this was definitely his sister. And she sounded so happy. Panda smirked and couldn't help but tease her just a little bit. Really? After all this time you have to tease me a bit? Wow, Marmar. Nah, it's fine. My skin hates sun and sand, apparently. But I brought a face mask. Blake had gotten him a bunch and threw them in his bag before she left without saying a word. It was funny how she did stuff for him and didn't say anything, but Blake noticed a lot of things when it came to Panda. He really needed to find her a pretty shell, or several. Marin balked, her face falling ever so slightly at Panda's poor attempts to tease before quickly smiling again, causing Panda to feel really bad. This was hard for her. He knew it. It was hard on everybody. But this week, they were going to reconnect and their bond would be stronger than ever. 'Cause he wasn't going to let her go again. He'd missed her too much. But before Panda could reassure Marin he was fine and everything was fine and, say sorry, a red-headed guy walked up from the cabin. Hey there, I'm Tony, Marin's fiance. Blaz, right? I assume you don't want me to call you Panda Bear. Marin gave a little pointed glare. No, that's my nickname for him, thank you very much, and only I get to use it. She stuck her tongue out at Tony, who stuck his out right back, and once again Blaz was filled with happiness and whiplash. It was just so weird to see Marin like this, but it was a good weird. Blaz is fine. Nice to meet you, Tony. Mars told me a lot about you. And after some small chit-chat, Panda happily took some pictures of the happy parents-to-be, marveling in just how different life was for his sister now. And it hit Panda that he was going to be an uncle. Wow. And there it was again, that walk. Marin was confident here. And to Tony, Panda didn't know him all that well yet, but he liked him already. Panda threw out a sheepish smile when Marin approached him, eyeing his new facial attire. Told you I had a mask. It'll sort me right up. What's the ingredients list? Some ingredients work better than others for the air here. And I didn't know you were into beauty products. I'm not, but since when are you, Mar? Oh, and I have no idea of the ingredients list. A friend got it for me for this trip. Since the sand scrubbed me raw several times over, trust me, it's the worst. And a friend, huh? Like a girlfriend? That sounds awful. And maybe. It's unofficial. Kinda. Well, I'm gonna make a cobbler, because the baby is really wanting one. Wanna come on in? I will in a bit. Is it okay if I go explore for a couple minutes? This place is so cool and... please? Obviously, and yeah, I love it here. Marin sighed happily. Just watch the volcano. It's particularly active right now. Panda didn't have to be told twice. Working out most every day over the summer had left him with boundless energy, and he was so excited to go explore. He was definitely going to put this mask to the test, too. He just didn't have to tell Blake he wasn't following the directions exactly. Did he? The waterfall was his first target, because it was big and waterfally and cool. Somebody had left a container of froggy food nearby. Were there frogs nearby? Or here? Well, the food was organic, right? Maybe the fish could eat it if the frogs didn't show up. Splish, splash. Ha 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 ha. This was lots of fun. Oops. Where did his face mask go? That sucker probably wasn't good for the environment. But don't worry, Panda didn't stay out too terribly long, and he kept his sister's advice in mind and avoided the volcano. But there were still so many things to explore and stuff to collect too. He was going to have a fun week here, he could tell. Panda showed up on time for the cobbler and took his first steps into Marin's home. It was calming, beautiful, with an open floor plan, and she had animals. Hey Panda, this is Star. I adopted her from the beach last year. And those are her kittens, Allie and Cymoral. Oh, and there's a fox somewhere. I've named him Oaks. You you did the family tradition after all, huh? Marin smiled slightly, blushed, and shook the cat toy for Star. Yeah. When Mom took us out to Brindleton Bay that time, I knew I was leaving soon, so I didn't participate because of that. But I always wanted to adopt an animal that needed a good home later when I could provide one. Oaks just showed up one day, and I could never find him a fox sanctuary or a home to go to, but Star came a little while after. It didn't take Blaz long to meet Oaks the fox, either. He was an Arctic white fox covered in dirt, surf, and sand. Oaks, you silly boy. Again? Really? I have to give you another bath now, Marin sighed. Nah, I could do that. You chill out. And after a brief introduction, Blaz was bathing the fox. How bizarre that his sister had a fox. And his uncle Andy had Red, also a fox. Maybe they were a fox type of family. And didn't his mom have a raccoon at one point? And chill out Marin did, working on her logic skill on her new chess table in the corner of her living room. But once everything was said and done, Marin and Tony decided to treat Panda to dinner at the local fish shack. Only, Tony disappeared once they got there. He had decided to go for a hydrating swim and gave the two siblings some time to talk. At first, Marin listened happily after gently broaching the topic of family. Blaz filled her in on what she had missed, which was quite a lot. Kaysen was attending university with a distinguished degree for culinary school, but Kaysen was also struggling. It might be drugs, but Oscar and I can't prove it yet. We'll get him sorted out, though. Don't worry. Oscar, he graduated high school, top of his class, of course, the big brainiac, and he's in Willow Creek this summer at some top secret internship that he can't tell us about, but I am betting it's either a spy thing or a military thing, although he isn't as jacked as I am, so maybe something with the spy stuff. And Zai's in her second year of high school. She and Uncle Andy are fighting as well. I think there's something up with Zai that he doesn't want us to know. She's always been a tiny bit odd, but Uncle Andy's attitude towards her is just ridiculous. He won't even let her go to the hospital. Like, what? And Uncle Andy is. Oh. Blaz stopped sheepishly. Do you want me to keep going, or. Where's Tony, anyways? Marin's smile didn't diminish, but he could tell the topic was painful. I want to hear it, but maybe fill me in later? As for Tony, he's out swimming right now, giving us some time to talk. Swimming? But the food is here, and I know you are hungry. Your stomach is rumbling. Feed my nephew or niece. I would like a niece, by the way. Am I allowed to say niece? Yeah, but Tony did a lot of work today, and he needs to rehydrate. Rehydrate? Panda laughed. What is he, a fish? That made Marin burst into a fit of nearly uncontrollable giggles. Funny you should say that. Sort of. It's difficult to explain. But but he and I, Sorry I'm late. I am glad y'all ate without me, though. She did eat, right? Tony looked at Blaz quizzically. Yeah, she did. Blaz looked back at Marin, who was giving lovey-dovey eyes at Tony. Uh, what were you saying, Mar? Hmm? Oh, yeah. She cleared her throat at Tony. Speaking of fish, Tony and I feel as though you should know something. Okay. What is it? Tony smiled slightly. An important piece of mine and my family's lineage. Marin wasn't going to say anything to you, but I believe you should know, given how close you two are, and you plan on coming back out here and being here for Marin and the baby. Yes? Yeah, of course. Blaz's answer was immediate. Alright, as I thought so. There is something we need to tell you, or rather, I need to show you. After we get dessert, of course. It's nothing dangerous, but it will most likely affect the baby. Tony smiled as Blaz eyed someone who looked familiar. That was not his instructor, was it? No way. What was he doing out here? But before Blaz could say anything, Henley disappeared. Blaz tuned back into the conversation, feeling bad for getting distracted. Right. Yeah, of course. So, dessert, then a show and tell with you two being super cryptic? He gave his sister a look. It's nothing illegal, is it? Marin chuckled. No, I wouldn't be stupid enough to show you anything like that, silly. Maybe the better term is endangered. Tony snorted. Blaz was all sorts of curious now. Endangered? Well, that tells me nothing at all. Marin grinned. Just you wait. You'll see. Probably. Probably? And see, Blaz did. Eventually. He had to wait for them to get done with the yummy dessert, get back to the house, then wait for Tony to get Marin sorted in bed before Tony pulled Blaz out to the water. Let's go for a midnight swim. Blaz shrugged and followed, wildly curious now. Aren't there crazy things like octopus, a kraken, or riptides to yoink us under at night? Something happened with Tony when he got in the water. Like a glint of red, then it was gone. Almost like a blip of Blaz's imagination. Tony laughed as Blaz felt currents at his feet, coming from Tony's direction. Ha! Good one. I mean, sure, but nothing's gonna mess with you, Blaz. You're family now, so you're protected. And speaking of, it's time for you to understand just what goes on around here. At least a little bit. Blaz cocked his head. What do you mean? You were being awfully cryptic, man. Tony only grinned. Sorry about that. This was easy with Mar, but I think her blood's a little more alive than yours. Let me just... Tony waved his hand, lifting it out of the water, and suddenly it was as though Blaz's head was under the water. Salty brine invading his eyes and nose. It was an intense feeling, but then it was gone in a flash, and... What? Blaz's eyes grew the size of plates. Tony smirked. See me now? He gestured to his full-on tail. Red. Sparkly? Scaly tail. Uh, what the plum? Am I on drugs? Nope. I'm a merfolk. So is my entire family. And most likely Marin and I's baby. Blaz splashed him, brain refusing to compute the words. Merfolk? Like a mermaid? That's funny, Tony, but like, where did you get the tail get up so quickly? Tony shook his head. Something happened when I got in the water, right? Like a tiny blip, maybe? You're like Marin, so you had to see through the veil even a tiny bit. He searched Blaz's face for the truth. Blaz gulped. I mean, I'm tired, and the drink at dinner was good? Tony simply waited. Blaz waited for the punchline, but none ever came. The two just swam until Blaz dared to speak up again, all too aware of his sister's fiance's tail. Tony had a whole tail? It was real? That you... That's a real tail? Yep. I'd let you touch it, but that might get weird. Yeah, no, thanks. How... How is this real? Shortest, simplest answer is I was born this way. It's in my bloodline, and I always look like this when swimming. Magic is real. Yes, it exists. There are other occults like me out there. You just never see them because of this handy magic in the universe called the Veil. It's pretty strong. That blip, you saw the tail a tiny bit, but then thought it was your imagination? Blaz nodded, absorbing the information rapidly. That was the Veil at work. It hides us from the normal Sims, but sometimes some Sims can see us anyway. Or they have something in their bloodline that is dormant, allowing them to see the other world. Marin and you likely have some special bloodline. Or she's got like a double dose. Or Marin could see us more easily because she and I are fated mates. Yes, like soulmates. No, I don't exactly know which situation it is. I'm not knowledgeable in blood magic and lineages like that. I just swim and do my own thing. Other than that, I'm fairly normal. Any questions? Or do you want to kind of just take that in? Uh, Plenty, but I think I'll sleep on it. Tony nodded understandingly. Completely understandable, but understand this. Don't just go sharing this with everybody. In fact, don't mention it to anybody, okay? Oh, yeah, no, sure, like, yeah, nobody. Got it. I won't breathe a word. Nobody would believe me anyways. And that was how Blaz found out about Atoni's scaly secret. With his mind swirling, trying to digest that overload of information, Blaz ended up watching Atoni swim, diving in and out of the water with ease because of his tail. What the heck? The last thoughts Blaz had before dozing off were, how is any of this real? but it was so cool at the same time. And that is that. Whew. Quite a chunk of an episode today. Sorry about that. But like I thought, a lot of the pictures of them together, them being Blaz and Marin together, were in fact in Blaz's folder, which is totally fine. I mean, really, it's all kind of in tandem. He's there for a week, so obviously he went and he did some stuff, and she did some stuff, and all of that. It wasn't just vacation all the time, right? Um, but yeah, so uh, it for Marin's is just kind of like, oh, okay, we have somebody coming over, but of course, for Blaz, this is a whole new world, whole new life. It's like a whole new sister, but it's still Marin. Just she's happier, and he's so happy to see it, but he's also getting like mega whiplash, and then on top of that, merfolk? What is this? Uh, yeah. And like, Tony had to lift the veil. Thankfully, Tony knows how to do that. He can pick and choose who he will share his secret with. Um, and he thought about it, and he thought, well, Blaz has always been the one that believed in Marin, and she seemed super close to him. She always talked about him, and then with the messages and everything else, he decided that Blaz knowing the secret would not be a bad choice. Will he share with the rest of the family? That remains to be determined, but at the very least, it's kind of a way to start bridging that gap should that choice be made later. And if not, Blaz is a good person to turn to in case anything goes wrong or whatever else. Because, what if something happens with the baby and, obviously the Mohos will take care of everything, but Blaz knows now, like he'd want to know what happened to his niece or nephew. And yeah, so Tony made a decision, and he talked about it with Marin and his family as well, and they all decided to collectively make a decision. So here's to hoping that was a good one, but I think Blaz is a good guy for that. What do y'all think? Anyways, I hope y'all enjoyed this. I'm going to say I'm sorry for it being long, but I really wanted to take my time with it, and yeah. So I hope y'all enjoyed it. Thank y'all so very much for watching and listening. I appreciate you guys. That is it for this week. Next week or next time, we will continue with Marin and Blaz. Um, and yeah, have a great rest of your week. And don't forget, where the water's slow, legacies grow. Bye!